So, you're going through a breakup. And yeah, it sucks. But here's the part that no one talks about. What if this breakup was exactly what you needed? Let's dig a little deeper. Why does it feel so overwhelming? Well, when you're with this person, you start sharing your identity with them. Your routines change, and then all of a sudden, you're attached to your happiness with someone else. It feels like they've taken a part of you with them. It's not that you just miss them. You miss the version of you that existed in that relationship. That's why it felt so intense. But here's the thing. You didn't actually lose that part of yourself. You just temporarily forgot who you were when you were in that relationship, and now you're rediscovering it. Psychologically, this is called emotional withdrawal. Just like breaking a habit, your brain is rewiring itself after a breakup. You're used to being emotionally connected, and now you're readjusting. It's literally a chemical and emotional reset happening inside of you. It's why you feel like you're losing your mind, but really, this is where the opportunity comes in. This is the moment where you get to start rebuilding. Not for anyone else, but for you. I've been there. Late 2021, 3 months of feeling completely lost after a breakup. I didn't just feel sad, I felt completely hopeless, not wanting to spend another day alive. I couldn't pull myself out of that dark place. There were days where I couldn't even get out of bed. I just started scrolling on TikTok, distracting myself, trying to ease that pain that was just constantly looping in my head. I was thinking, this is it. This is how I'm gonna feel forever. And then one night it clicked for me. I was sitting there in my bed, exhausted from feeling sorry about myself. And I realized, no one is gonna save me. Not my ex, not my friends. No one can pull me out of this except for me. That was the moment that everything changed. I didn't magically feel better overnight, but I started to take small steps. I wrote down what I was feeling. I went for a walk. I reached out to a friend that I didn't even talk to for months. I wasn't doing it to move on. I was doing it to move back into myself. Look, I know it feels impossible right now. But the moment I realized that no one else was going to do it for me was the moment that I started healing. It's not about pretending that you're okay. It's about knowing that it's okay and that I'll accept what's happening and keep moving forward. You have the power to rebuild your life one block at a time. At first, I didn't think it was working, but little by little, I started seeing the changes. And it wasn't like every single day was perfect. I would journal, I would do yoga, I would run, I would write out everything I was feeling. And still at the end of the day, feel terrible, feel like shit. But then I started feeling like myself more. Not because I moved on from my ex, but because I finally got the attention and care that I needed to give to myself. And here's the part that no one tells you. Breakups, they don't just break you down, they break you open. They give you a chance to meet the version of yourself that you've been waiting to meet. The one that's emerging right now. The version that's stronger, wiser, and more than you've ever realized. So now that we've talked about the why, and I've shared a bit about what I've went through, let's dive into some practical ways to actually see this. Because yeah, feeling the pain is one thing, but how do you actually get through this? Alright, now let's get real for a second. Everything I've said up to this point sounds kind of hopeful, right? But here's the truth. Doing the work for yourself is fucking hard. It's hard. It's like really hard. Some days you won't do it. You'll wake up and think, what's the point? Why am I even bothering with all of this? And that's normal. In fact, it's expected. Breakups aren't just about moving on from someone else. It's about moving on from the mental blocks in your head. And that takes time. And honestly, you're gonna have days where it feels impossible. Where you've done all the right things. You went on that walk. You've journaled your feelings. You've talked to your friends about them. And you still feel awful. That's part of the process. Here's what you need to understand. Healing is not a straight line. It's messy, it's exhausting, and some days, it feels like you're not making any progress at all. But the key, you have to keep showing up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Some days it feels like you're taking one step forward and 2 steps back, and that's okay. It isn't about perfection, it's about slowly changing your perception, reminding yourself every single day that today I'm worth it, and today I'm gonna make the effort to be worth it. And yeah, some days you will have to drag yourself, you'll have to look in the mirror, remind yourself why you're doing this. Because if you don't show up for yourself, who will? You need to be your biggest advocate. You know, there were many times during those 3 months where I just wanted to give up. Days where I feel like I'd make progress and then boom, I get hit with a wave of sadness out of nowhere. A bad dream or just some negative thought just got big. It felt in those moments like all the work I've done was pointless. But what kept me going was the reminder to myself over and over that this was for me, that no one could do it for me. Every time I felt like giving up, I'd have to stop and say, you've come this far. Don't quit on yourself now. And sometimes I had to physically remind myself, whether it was writing it down, leaving sticky notes around on my computer screen, or even setting 3 alarms on my phone for when I wanted to do breath work or meditation. These little reminders were huge. You have to keep reminding yourself that this journey is for you. Not for your ex, not for anyone else, for you. Because the work you're putting in today, it's shaping the person you become tomorrow. So how do you keep going when it's hard? You need an actual system. Something to hold yourself accountable, something that doesn't rely on how you're feeling in the moment. One of the things that helped me the most was creating a routine. A non-negotiable checklist of small things I do every day, no matter how I felt. Some days it was simple as getting up out of bed. Other days I'd go for a run, I'd journal, or call a friend. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be big. What matters is that you do something. Because even on the hardest days, when you don't even feel like it, it reminds you that you're still moving forward. And that's huge. And on the days where it feels really hard, like you really don't want to do anything, like nothing makes sense, nothing was worth working on, remind yourself that even the little amount of self-love that you can give is everything. That's what this is all about. Breakups are hard. Healing is hard. But if you remember one thing in this video, let it be this. You are so much more than that heartbreak. And the work you're putting in, it'll get you to places that you never thought you were going to be. It's about becoming the version of yourself that you've always been capable of. So keep showing up, keep doing the work, even when it's tough. Because the only person who's going to get you through this is you. And that's exactly why you're going to make it. You've got this. It's not over. It's just beginning. Hey, if working on yourself is hard, we've built an app for you. It's called Talk to Lotus. Just talk to Lotus about your heartbreak, and Lotus will guide you through introspective questions and help you understand yourself more. It's like a mini therapist friend that you can vent to whenever you want. Alright, see you guys next time.